next hour, the green and gold are in charge. Welcome to In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network. In the Huddle is brought to you by Mole Lake Casino Lodge and Conference Center. Now, here's Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman B.J. Raji.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill in Kimberly. Good to have you along here this evening after the Packers have a little extra time off over the weekend. And boy, what an impressive 42-34 victory over the Saints last Thursday night. It was just a great night for the opening night of the National Football League. And my co-host B.J. Raji's alongside. B.J., how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Very good, thank you. What an impressive night in general. Just a great football game.
Yeah, it was definitely a good atmosphere. You know, they had some good things outside for the fans. The fans were able to enjoy themselves, and obviously the most important thing, we came out with the win.
All those points and all those yards, I'm sure the defenses weren't totally thrilled. But I'll tell you what, though, you made the plays when you needed to. And there were a handful of them that the defense really came up big with.
Right. Particularly the goal line play, obviously, was the biggest. But we had some good goal line stands throughout the game. And, you know, it's tough when you're trying to stop a guy as talented as Drew Brees, but ultimately all you really care about is the win.
All right, let's talk about that goal line stand. You had how many defensive linemen? It was Green in there as well?
Yeah, we had four. We had a goal line package, and so it was four defensive linemen, and we had an extra backer in. Obviously took a corner out, and it was man on man, and thank God we came out on top.
So you guys are just trying to get, as defensive linemen, you're just trying to hit them low and push them back?
Yeah, the object is that you want to knock their legs back, so if they have any pullers, which they actually did on that play, they don't have any penetration, any momentum going forward. And like that particular play, the running back doesn't have enough time to gather his feet to jump over the pile, and we did that on that play.
Yeah, as Ingram kind of came in, you guys were still pushing back.
Right.
It really looked like he really couldn't jump because they were pushed right back in his legs already.
Right, and if he attempted to jump, we had like three guys in the air waiting for him, so that was good to see everyone sell out on obviously the last play of the game.
Yeah, Dom Capers said that situation right there was exactly the way they draw it up in the meeting room.
Yes, I believe it is, especially on defense. You want to see your defensive linemen getting lower than the guys, and you want to see the guys up in the back just sell out and try to do the best they can.
All right, late third quarter, Saints 4.5 yard from the Packers 7-yard line. They go play action. That doesn't work as well, which kind of almost made you think that at the end of the game they were going to go run.
Well, from back end, I don't know what the story was, but, you know, myself, I saw those offensive linemen, you know, a few inches off the ground. I didn't really think they were doing a pass. And my job in goal line isn't to necessarily worry about the pass, it's more take care of the run.
All right, there was special teams. Saints line up for the onside kick. Fairly decently executed kick by the kicker. Donald Driver comes flying out of nowhere. That was a pretty big play to recover the kick.
Definitely. I mean, I have to believe that's one of the reasons we have him on that team, as his leaping ability and obviously his sure hands.
You like being on the hands team. You know that you know you got good hands. You know you can catch the ball if you're on the hands team. Wide receivers should be there.
My point is, I was going to say that
yeah.
If you're a wide receiver, you're probably going to be on the hands team because, I mean, people are confident in your ability to catch the ball.
All right, there's one last play. They go to Mark Ingram, and of course the Packers stop it at the goal line. So that was obviously a huge one there. You know, I know you're not thrilled at all about the yards, and we kind of touched on the fact that you won the football game, but these are two great quarterbacks, excellent offenses, great offenses, really. I mean, you know, in terms of the National Football League. So I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of in that scenario. It's first game out of the gates, and you got two high-powered offenses, and you know, it was really a thrill a minute.
Yeah, especially when in the opening week you're going against a quarterback like Drew Brees. You have to account for some things you haven't seen on film, and they definitely broke some tendencies that we thought that would stick. And ultimately, I mean, my belief is this guy's a Hall of Fame quarterback. We didn't definitely come in the game expecting to hold them to 0 points and, you know, keep them under a certain amount of yardage. Hopefully we made the plays and win the game.
Yeah, you had to start to wonder, though, when you were jumping out 21 points and in the first quarter alone, and it was coming pretty easy to the Packers.
Well, our offense, I mean, a lot of things are going to come easy to them. I mean, defensively, it's our job to kind of keep teams from, you know, getting in the game, and at certain times we weren't able to do that, but ultimately we got the job done.
Packers had the football for all but 3:43 of the opening quarter. Rodgers was 14 out of 15, 188 yards in the quarter alone, and that's the most he's ever had in any quarter of football. So he certainly had it going there. Hey, how about Darren Sproles? Are you surprised they didn't get the ball in his hands a little bit more?
I don't know exactly what. I mean, when I look at Darren Sproles, I think of more of a third down back type of, receiving out of the backfield. They weren't having much success running up the middle with, their running backs, particularly with Thomas and Ingram. So I didn't think in that situation, I don't think Darren Sproles would be a good fit right there.
Yeah. Did you expect the offenses to be as good as they were first game out of the gates?
Just the style of offense that they play. I know that they could pick up yardage very quickly. That was I didn't know exactly how it would happen, but I knew particularly with the passing style that both teams had that they could gain ground pretty early.
Yeah, because you guys, I thought, going against your own offense, which is one of the best in the league, in training camp and practices, you guys were kind of ahead of the game there.
I think it's too early. I feel like in training camp it's too early to tell. I mean, for instance, like I said before, when you're going against a team opening week, they obviously have some things up their sleeve that you can't be ready for. I mean, it's the opening game. They don't have any regular season games on film, so I wouldn't be too critical, of our performance. I mean, obviously, we know that's not up to our standards, but opening week, I mean, we're just happy with the win.
Yeah, well, you don't want to be at your peak opening week anyway. I mean, you want to be able to, kind of just keep climbing that ladder every week.
I mean, obviously, if you can, I mean, you want to be dominant every time you step on the field, but I mean, everyone knows that sometimes that's not the case.
Yeah, in a perfect world, though, the way the coordinator would have it is, he wants you to play well, and he wants, nothing wrong with pitching a shutout, but ultimately, where you guys hit your stride last year when you won a Super Bowl, that's where you want to hit your stride.
Well, obviously, you want to be playing your best football in the playoffs, but we don't want to take the road we took last year, having to win our last regular season games to get in.
No, that's for sure. Well, this game was pretty much everything as advertised. Did you, when you came to the yard, were you kind of sneaking a peek, kind of checking things out, or?
No, I mean, obviously I couldn't look past all the people that were there, but from a standpoint of football, my main focus was inside the stadium, not so much outside.
All right, how crazy was that atmosphere in comparison to the Super Bowl?
Well, Super Bowl's a little bit different. You know what I mean? It's just everyone knows it's the biggest game of the year.
Yeah.
I can kind of compare that game to like Green Bay's Super Bowl for the town. But so much, I think it was a great atmosphere, and hopefully we can get some more things like that.
All right, well, you guys had the weekend off. You're kind of back to work today, starting preparations for the Carolina Panthers. We'll talk more about that in a moment. We'll also meet our guest tonight. It's all coming up from Tanner's here in Kimberly. Back with more in the Huddle after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now, back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman B.J. Raji.
And we're back here at Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill in Kimberly. Good to have you along tonight. Packers nose tackle B.J. Raji alongside, as he is every Monday night. Don't forget about our Granite Peak email segment of the week coming up a little bit later in the program. You can go to inthehuddleshow.com. Email us your question. We'll pick one lucky winner to enjoy a great ski getaway from Granite Peak Ski Area in Wausau. Well, it's time to meet our guest tonight. In his first year out of the University of Kentucky, second-round draft pick of the Green Bay Packers, he is wide receiver and return extraordinaire, Randall Cobb.
How you doing?
Very good. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Wow, what a way to get the whole shooting match off to a good start, huh?
Yeah, it was an exciting game. Just glad I could be a part of it. Glad I could have the opportunity to be on the field with all those guys.
Made a pair of electrifying plays in the opener. The first one, the touchdown pass from Aaron Rodgers, 32-yarder. You also had the 108-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, and we'll get to each one individually. But it's certainly well advertised by now. But in both instances, the pass play, you ran the wrong route and still scored the touchdown. But it's not as bad as it. He had the right play coming out of the huddle. It's just that Aaron Rodgers changed the play at the line of scrimmage, and you didn't pick up on it there, correct?
Correct. I'm still trying to get used to the signals and everything. It's a lot different from what I'm used to. So we have the ability to change a play and then change it again. So just trying to be on the same page with Aaron and trying to keep working into that role.
Yeah. Well, you were so wide open. And he stuck with it that, whether you're supposed to go here or there, it didn't matter. You were so open. He threw you the ball, and the rest was history.
That goes to show how good of a quarterback Aaron is, just to find an open guy and get the ball to him in open space and just be able to make a play with it.
I like the dive, didn't you, BJ? The dive into the end zone?
I loved it. Spectacular.
That was awesome. That was awesome. I mean, we had to move the helmet here so people could see him at the table because he says I'm just a short guy, but you weren't short on that play.
Yeah, I got up a little bit on that play.
All right, the 108-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, just an unbelievable play. And in there, the fault was that, and I asked Mike McCarthy in the postgame press conference, I said, could you see from field level exactly where Randall Cobb caught the football and took off from? He goes, oh yeah. He said, and I'm glad that he couldn't, he says, I know he's glad that he couldn't hear me yelling in the headsets because he wouldn't have liked what I had to say. And he said for about 25, 30 yards, when you made that spin move and broke the tackle and then took off and you were in daylight, that's when his tone changed just a little bit. So.
Well, I'm glad I was fortunate enough to be able to make a play on that and have some teammates make some blocks downfield because I probably wouldn't have been back there returning any more kicks if I wouldn't have got out there.
Well, you are exactly what Green Bay has been clamoring for a long time. In fact, Alan Rossum, you ever heard of Alan Rossum before?
No.
Alan Rossum is a pretty good return guy, but he eventually moved on to Atlanta, signed in free agency there after his time with the Packers. But in the year 2000, Alan Rossum's the last kicker, or kick returner, I should say, to run one back all the way for a touchdown. So, that's 11-plus years. It's been a long time in Green Bay. People are pretty excited about Randall Cobb right now.
I hope we can have some more this season.
Tell us what you're seeing there from 108. Did you know you were that deep in the end zone? What's the thought process?
I really didn't. I line up at 105, and if I have to back up any, I'm not supposed to bring it out. But I had to move a little bit to the left, and then the wind brought the ball back to the right. So once I moved back, I thought I was back in the same position where I started, and I was a little bit deeper. I decided to bring it out and had to make one guy miss, and then I saw a seam that my blockers had set up.
BJ, I know they might have been mess-ups, but they're pretty impressive mess-ups, weren't they?
Yeah, it was one of those things when you can't say anything. I mean, I'm not his coach, but I'm sure if I was his coach, I would just pat him on the back and tell him, keep doing that and we'll have no problem.
Yeah, and I think, Mike McCarthy, he answered the question afterwards, but he quickly turned with a smile on his face and said, but I'm glad he ran it all the way for
right.
108 yards for the touchdown. And that that not only sets a franchise record, but it ties a National Football League record. So, there you are in your first game, and you're in the record books, my friend.
Not bad.
Not bad at all, huh?
I'll take it.
You had a pretty good training camp. I mean, you from day one, whether it be receiver, returning, punt returns, whatever. From day one, you were getting people talking about you.
Yeah, I think that just goes to show my work ethic and how hard I work. I want to come in and be able to prove myself, and fortunately enough, I had a lot of great guys in the room with me as far as receivers go, with Greg and Donald and Jordy and James and all those guys, and I learned so much from in training camp. And being able to work with Aaron and him being able to teach me some things with route running and how he wants me to be on my route running. So I think that I'm fortunate to be in that position.
A lot of professional athletes that are on the offensive side of the ball, wide receivers, at some point in time you usually play quarterback in your career. And for most players it's high school, and then it kind of stops there, and then you go on and you do your thing in college. But you played quarterback in college, and you played as late as your senior year in college.
Yeah, I did a little bit. It was more of just the Wildcat package, and with me having history of playing quarterback, Coach trusted me enough to put in some pass plays out of that formation as well.
I read this today, and it was pretty unbelievable. You accounted for scores in 8 different ways at Kentucky last season: rushing, passing, receiving, punt return touchdown, throwing a touchdown pass on a fake field goal, and posting 2-point conversions by rushing, passing, and receiving.
Wow.
It's getting it done.
It definitely is.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a different atmosphere.
Did they have anybody else on that team that could play, man?
We do. We got some pretty good athletes. Coach put a lot on my back, and like Greg Jennings carried the team. I was kind of a player at Kentucky, and we had a lot of great guys and a lot of great talent that was young. So, you know, with me being an older guy, they look for me to be able to make some more plays.
I know this, BJ, I don't know if you're familiar with the draft rooms and all that kind of stuff during the draft. But I'll tell you one thing, second round when Randall Cobb's name was still on the board, and I literally everybody that I saw, draft rooms, everybody was saying, you know, we want Randall Cobb.
Draft rooms, I know minimal information, but you know those draft, like I don't really pay attention to those mock drafts, and it doesn't happen like that. One pick can really change everything. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I'm fortunate we got Randall. He's a great fit for us. If he's a primarily special teams guy his first year, that's a great fit.
It's going to be interesting, I think, based on the things you've already done in week one, and I don't think they're in any great hurry to rush you along by any stretch, but clearly what you showed in the opener on Thursday night it's got to be in their head about, hey, we need to get this guy on the field more often with opportunities to make plays.
Well, see, that's another thing about our room. We have 4 guys and 5, including myself, that can get the job done and can make plays. So, you know, like you said, I don't think there's any rush to get me on the field with so much talent in our room. But at the same time, you know, we're all competitors and we want to be on the field. So I think the coaches are going to make the best decision for this team. And, you know, just leave it in their hands, and Coach McCarthy and everybody will take care of that.
Now, you're a lefty, right?
Yes.
You don't look like a lefty.
Lefties are a little smarter.
You were a true freshman starter at quarterback?
Yes.
At Kentucky. That's pretty amazing.
Yes, sir.
You know, that's big enough school where that stuff doesn't happen every day.
No, it was it was a tough task coming in as a freshman. They wanted me to learn quarterback and receiver, playing quarterback in high school, but they look at me as a receiver in the future. So I played a little bit of both and earned the starting job the last 5 games of the season. So it was a great accomplishment, and I know how hard it is to be a quarterback, and I think that's one of the things that helped me as a receiver because I understand from their aspect and the way that they view things. What's
the first thing that went through your mind when you saw B.J. Raji?
I don't want to get hit by him. Let me stay away from him.
And you know, we were talking about B.J.'s worst job or most boring job last week. What was it? Kmart, right?
Oh yeah, you mean my first job?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a Kmart cashier.
All right, we'll find out when we come back what Randall's job was when he was in high school. All right, we'll come back as we continue here in the huddle from Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill in Kimberly. Back with more after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman B.J. Raji.
And we are back here in the huddle. Continues Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill in Kimberly. Good to have you along. Hey, if you're ever in the Valley area, those of you listening out in the statewide network around the state, you visit the Valley, you got to come out and check out Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill in Kimberly. Great place, great food, and of course the show. Come out and give us a visit. Transportation for our guests provided by L&S Classic Limousine, personal professional service for all occasions. Call Lenny or Sue at 1-800-830-5933 for your reservation. Back with co-host B.J. Raji and our special guest Randall Cobb on the program tonight. Well, we talked about jobs on the last week, and I knew you weren't going to. There's no way you could possibly have wound up at Tennessee because they made you sell hot dogs inside their stadium for a high school job, didn't they?
Yeah, I was a hot dog vendor at the University of Tennessee football games in high school and a little bit of middle school. And I walked around with the hot dog vendor, bright T-shirt with the pail and selling hot dogs. After I'd sell them, I'd sit on the steps and watch the rest of the game. I wouldn't go back and get any more dogs.
So how'd that work out? Pretty cool?
Yeah, it was. It was a good experience. And I've always been around football, and just having the opportunity to work there, just to be able to watch the games. Cool.
Big Volunteers fan?
Yeah.
At the time, still? No, not?
I wouldn't say big. My dad was a big Tennessee fan, and my brother was a Georgia fan, so I kind of went between the two. So
how'd you wind up at Kentucky?
I wasn't really highly recruited. Everybody told me I was too small. Actually, I had a couple coaches tell me I wouldn't play Division I football, but I had opportunity to go to Tennessee, Kentucky, or Middle Tennessee State, and I just chose Kentucky. I felt more comfortable with the situation.
Let's talk about the in the game on Thursday, the tackling. That was kind of a sore spot at some points. It's not like, I mean, technique, you do drills for tackling, technique type stuff, but there's not a lot of live one-on-one smash mouth tackling that goes on in practice. I could probably see why from time to time, maybe coming out of the gates, how that would maybe not be as sharp as you'd like it to be, and then you work harder on it and it becomes more of an emphasis and it cleans up pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's no excuse. I don't recall exactly how many missed tackles we had, but there's definitely no excuse for missed tackles. But to be honest, we were primarily a nickel package the entire game.
Yes, you were, yeah.
And when a team is coming out in their I formation and pro formation and regular formation, which is typically a running down, they kind of have an advantage. So that's why I'm actually proud of the fact that we were able to shut the run down the way we did, because when teams getting, in the formation that they were in, like, a lot of the time, you should generally have success running the ball because there's an extra blocker on, a D-back. But I mean, there were some times in the game where our tackling was very poor, but those are the type of things that you can correct after you see the film.
Special teams, kind of you can take it on one side, you can say, well, the offense, what a thrilling special teams performance it was, but then there's the flip side, and you play them both, right? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So there's the flip side of thinking, well, how did Darren Sproles get that many yards, or what went wrong here? So you're kind of celebrating on one end, and you're kind of going, oh, what a bummer the other side is.
It wasn't as bad as it looked. We gave up a touchdown, which you never want to do, or give up a big return, and we got out of our lanes as far as on that punt return, and that's just like BJ said, that's something we can correct and go back and watch film on and learn where we made our mistake and learn something from it.
Pretty good day for the NFC North yesterday. The Vikings didn't win, but the Bears and the Lions did. I would imagine you guys saw some of that football yesterday. You probably watched the whole day, didn't you?
Of course. What else would I be doing? No, but to speak on the NFC North, I had a good idea we'd be pretty strong this year. And like you said, it was a great showing by the teams. I was actually rooting against them, but they happened to win. So I was obviously able to make a point there as far as how strong our conference is. And I think it's one of the, depends on who you ask, one of the top 2, top 3 conferences in the NFL.
All right, let's talk about, we'll get back to talking about some of the games yesterday, but kickoffs and the fact that the kicker's now kicking from the 35-yard line, and kind of goes with the fact that you had to field that ball 8 yards deep instead of normally you probably get it at the goal line or maybe a yard or 2 deep in the end zone. 49%, going into the Sunday night game, 49% of all kickoffs were touchbacks this weekend. And 18% is the normal number. So it's basically like triple the number of times you can't bring a kick out. That's not a great way for a kick returner to make a living, And yet still there were 3 returned. Yours obviously one of them, 3 returned in the league for touchdowns on opening week. But your thoughts on what they've done, and hopefully will correct very soon.
I think the move was very beneficial to our league, as far as longevity.
Do you really?
I think so, for the longevity of players' careers. That's one of the things we want to work on in the new CBA, was making sure that the players were safer and had a better opportunity to have a longer career. And I think that helps, because a lot of injuries, if you go back and look, a lot of injuries happen on special teams and on kickoff, and because you got two guys that's running full speed and making that collision, and it's a hard hit. So, I think it is a little bit safer, but at the same time, everybody has to work out the kinks and try to figure out the coverages and as far as the returns, how they're going to work out, because it's all new for everybody. I think that's why you've seen a few busted coverages on kickoffs and all those touchdowns this week.
Why not just line them up at the 20 then every time?
I don't know. I think it's still an excitement in the play as far as, having the opportunity to have the touchdown like you do. I think the excitement in the play, and you have to find a way to add a sense of play that's going to change possessions the way it does.
Okay, and I know where you're coming from, and you're absolutely right. The one thing they did do, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, BJ, I'm not sure what year did they do it. Last year where they got rid of the wedge 2 years ago, something like that?
Might have been my rookie year. I'm not quite sure on that, but I think that was probably a better decision than the actual kickoff with the moving the kickoff up, because guys are coming, they have an exact assignment, and I don't think it was necessarily fair for the whole line to generally combine itself and then try to attack one or two people. You're already at a disadvantage running down a full head of steam, having to change direction like that.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely changed the dimension of who's on the field. Definitely. Because when you had the wedge, you had a couple of big linemen in there.
Right.
You wanted those guys, and of course you want somebody big. Usually it's big, heavier linebackers. They want to bust that thing up, but they need the speed to do it as well.
Right.
And there's the collisions you're talking about right there. Those are some pretty serious collisions, no question. All right, Cam Newton, 422 yards for a rookie quarterback in his first NFL game through the air. That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
He obviously set a record, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you can't take anything away from that. His arm was very strong. He was surprisingly pretty accurate on the throws. I was actually talking to Randall coming down here. He had some nice throws, some nice long out routes. Obviously he has a cannon for an arm. So we definitely, we have to get back to playing Packer football this week, definitely.
Now, one of the things the defense is obviously trying to do is they're trying to create scenarios for that quarterback where, sometimes people there's X amount of unscouted looks, things that he hasn't seen yet, and you'll try to confuse him and try to get him to turn the football over a little bit.
Right, but their game plan, going off of, today we broke down their preseason games, and I'm not saying that everything is going to be the same, but they're with their running backs, their personnel, they like to run the football. They acquired 2 new tight ends for the guy, so that gives you a pretty good indication that they're going more medium routes. They're not like us. They're not going to try to spread you out and just keep attacking downfield. He'll obviously take his shots if they're open, but you can tell the offense is still a work in progress.
All right, what's the biggest surprise of anything you guys saw yesterday?
I was surprised with the Atlanta Bears game. I thought, just having tough battles, with both teams, I figured that initial game would be a tough battle just because of how solid Atlanta is on offense, and their defense is very opportunistic. Chicago, just came out ready to play, and they kind of ran them off the field.
Yeah, I thought you have one?
I'd say the Steelers game.
Yeah.
I really was expecting them to come out a little bit stronger than what they did. The turnovers really killed them. And, Baltimore, you can't take anything away from them. They played great last night. 7
turnovers. Yeah, that was something else. All right, our email segment is coming up brought to you by Granite Peak Ski Area. More in the Huddle from Tanners and Kimberly after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman B.J. Raji.
And we're back at Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill in Kimberly. I'd like to welcome Packers fans to the program listening in Racine on WRJN, over in La Crosse on WFBZ, in Antigo on WACD, and over in Wapaka on WDUX-FM. Our email segment brought to you by Granite Peak. The Granite Peak Season Pass sale is on now through September 30th. If you ski or ride 6 times or more, the Season Pass is the best value. Go to skigranitepeak.com, purchase your Season Pass today, and get ready to enjoy the upcoming ski season. Our email segment, again, brought to you by Granite Peak. Let's head out to Justin Hull.
Well, thank you, everybody who submitted a question this week. We actually had a record 15 questions, Bill, so we had to kind of dwindle it down to the best ones. InTheHuddleShow.com, if you're listening along at home. You can put your emails in there and have your question asked here on the show. First question is coming from Dennis. This is for you, BJ. What does BJ stand for?
Basari Jr. It's Nigerian. Take after my dad.
All right. Get to our next question here from Ted in Madison. It's for you, Randall. Did you, or actually it's for both of you, I'm sorry. Did you or do you guys recall any moments of playing a current teammate when you guys were back in college? They both looked at each other with the most dumbfounded looks on their face, like, really? I got to explain that to everybody listening at home since you didn't see the reaction. Remember playing any of your former teammates when you guys were in college?
Well, you're talking about as far as seeing them in the NFL?
Guys that you're on a team with now, did you play against them in college? Yeah.
Well, I played with Tim Mastay, but just remember playing against who's on the team from
you probably played Matt Flynn, right? Did you play Flynn?
No, Flynn left.
He was before you?
Yeah, he left the year
You
before.
might have played Jarius of Georgia. Win.
Jarius Wynn, yeah.
We can just move on, guys.
Please do. Please do.
That's a tough one.
All right, this one comes from Craig in Reedsburg. Did you have any trouble with traffic getting into the game on Thursday with all the pregame festivities, and did it cause any kind of distraction?
No, because Coach, he advised us to kind of get there a little bit early. Generally, for the veterans, 2 hours before kickoff is usually what we do. But because of, obviously, the atmosphere that day, Coach wanted us in an hour early, so I was able to avoid a lot of the traffic.
Yeah, me as well. I didn't have any problems with the traffic. I was actually kind of excited to see all the fans out there a little bit early, be able to see them tailgate and see that whole atmosphere.
Have you guys actually seen traffic since being in Green Bay? Because when we talk about traffic, I know some people come in here and just laugh at what we call traffic.
Well, it's a difference. Is Green Bay traffic, and then there's, if you're on the East or West Coast, maybe, someplace in Texas, maybe that's different. But I have seen, Green Bay traffic on game day, obviously, but that's one of the few times I have.
All right, we'll get to our next question here for you, Randall. This one comes from Christy in Reedsburg. Did you have a touchdown celebration planned since your teammates decided to tackle you when you scored?
I actually had one planned for the first touchdown, and then after I scored, I kind of just blanked out. And I don't know if you saw me, but I was like searching around. I didn't know what to do. And then I was like, oh yeah, Limbo Leap.
Was it everything you imagined it would be?
You need to come up with something like the Raji, man. Come on.
Yeah, I need something good.
There is no better celebration out there than the Raji.
You know what? I thank you. I'm sure it's not because I'm your co-host that you're saying that.
I think it's pretty awesome myself, whether you're my co-host or not.
All right, since we have our two players here, Bill, there's actually a question for you if you don't mind answering this one.
All right.
This one comes from Bill in Appleton. More impressive touchdown return, Randall Cobb's kickoff or B.J. Raji's touchdown in the NFC Championship game?
Oh boy.
I'll answer this one.
I think it's B.J. myself.
Easily. Easily.
This is take a look at B.J. Now he is a phenomenal athlete, but you'd never know that. You wouldn't know. If you watch B.J. play, he's a phenomenal athlete. And I see it in practice every day, and I see, the moves he puts on offensive linemen. But a guy of his size and his stature, he's not supposed to be able to do the things that he does. And he does it with grace. Let me tell you. So I think...
I have to agree with that, too.
I appreciate that. No, I would say mine because of the stage. It was a little bit bigger, but Randall's was obviously more spectacular.
Yeah, it was. They're both good. That's
definitely.
But my BJ gets my vote.
Did you remember seeing that on TV? How much Packers did you actually watch last year, Randall, during the Super Bowl?
What's really crazy is I was actually in Phoenix, Arizona, at a Packers bar in Phoenix, Arizona.
Wow.
That goes to show you how many Packer fans there is in this world, and just to be at that bar watching the game, it was crazy.
So when the Packers called your name on draft day, you were kind of more excited getting to actually go and play for some of those fans.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was probably one of the most exciting times of my life.
That's what we got for our email questions. Bill, we'll pick a winner coming up in the next segment.
All right, yep, we'll definitely check that out as well. And that, again, is brought to you by Granite Peak Ski Area. Our email segment will reward one lucky emailer with a 2-night stay and lift tickets for 2 days at Granite Peak Ski Area in Wausau. Go to the InTheHuddleShow.com and email us your question each and every week. You could be enjoying a great ski getaway this winter to Granite Peak ski area. Well, maybe I'll get BJ on skis. Think that's a good idea?
No chance.
I really like to see that.
All right.
No chance.
We'll pause and we'll come back. We'll award our winner for the ski package, and we'll talk a little bit about Carolina, which is coming up this Sunday for the Green Bay Packers. Back with more from Tanner's in Kimberly after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman B.J. Raji.
And we are back here at the we continue from the Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill in Kimberly, and it's time now to pick our winner of the Granite Peak email segment. Justin?
All right, we're going to go with Bill. He had the question about the returns. I thought there was a lot of good response on that one, so he'll pick up the prize pack from Granite Peak. Again, inthehuddleshow.com. Each and every week we'll post the guest there on Monday, and you can submit your questions and possibly take home that grand prize.
All right, thank you, Bill, for the question and for everybody else. And keep trying, keep submitting your questions, because we'll give you an opportunity as the season rolls on for one of those great ski packages up at Granite Peak. Well, the Packers kind of get back into a normal routine. 7 Sunday games in a row now, so it's kind of what the NFL kind of is, even though they have the Thursdays and the Mondays and all that kind of stuff that messes stuff up. Do you guys like those extra things, or are you kind of creatures of habit where you'd like that every week routine to be the same?
I think I like it every now and then. Definitely you want to get into a routine and be able to go about your days and knowing when how to prepare and not having short weeks or long weeks. But for instance, the kickoff, the classic, that was something special that you'll never forget. So being on Thursday was great.
Mm-hmm.
I like how it was this year. You have a Thursday night opener, kind of the only game playing, so everyone's watching. And then, the way Coach McCarthy does things, we have a couple of days off, and then you get back, like you said, the routine for a couple of weeks. I love playing on Sundays, but sometimes it's cool, pretty interesting to change it up sometimes.
All right, now, this is the way fans think, this is the way I think, and this is the way you guys don't think. Carolina, all right, Carolina. Nobody's really writing home about Carolina. They're a football team that's in transition. They're growing. They drafted a new quarterback, number 1. It's probably going to take them a little while to kind of get going and get to the point where everybody gains that experience and they start winning a lot of football games. That's kind of the game plan. Maybe in year 2, they're pushing for the playoffs. But right now, fans, myself, we don't really look at Carolina to be a football team that is going to really, knock your socks off. Now, I know you guys can't look at it that way. You got to look at every opponent and treat them because anybody can beat anybody on any given Sunday. Now, when I saw Cam Newton and what he did, I'm thinking, you know what? Hey, this all of a sudden became a pretty interesting football game, didn't it?
You know what? I was unfortunate enough to have the experience my rookie year. We head down to Tampa Bay, and I think they were 0-7 or something like that. And we were probably thinking along those same lines that these guys aren't good, and actually end up beating us. So I think that all the veterans in the room, we know what that felt like, and you don't want to be a part of that. You know what I mean? Especially with the expectations that we have and we have so much to accomplish. But in this league, Randall will soon learn. But I've been here for a while. That, for instance, he's at Kentucky. There's no Tennessee States. Everyone's a professional. Everyone's getting paid to play, and everyone is trying to beat you, especially when you're defending world champs.
Randall, did you ever take an opponent a little lighter than you probably should have in your time?
No, you can't. Sometimes it tends to happen that you do play down to your opponent sometimes. But like BJ said, on this level, everybody's professionals, and they have a job that they have to take care of as well as we do. And we're going out there and we're going to play our best football, and that's how we got to look at it.
The danger if you don't do that, you come out a little bit slow, you take them a little bit lightly. It's hard to get it back, isn't it?
Right.
Because they're just jacked up.
Right. Sometimes football. Sometimes things happen. You get an inadvertent interception, and they get good field position. All of a sudden, before you know it, you're down a couple scores, and you don't want that. You don't want that to happen, especially on the road. You don't want to get our opponents to crowd any opportunity to get excited and to kind of hurt us on offense as far as with the crowd noise.
Goal of rushing a quarterback is to try and keep him in the pocket and get him there. Cam Newton will run. How much does that dimension make your life a little more difficult?
Well, especially depending on the down and distance, they definitely take some coverages away from you as far as, what you can do, particularly with a guy that's quote-unquote a sitting duck in the pocket. Mm-hmm. But, going off the preseason, guys have gotten after Cam and guys have sacked him. And hopefully we'll just add to that.
Did you read or hear about Jerry Richardson, what he did Jerry Richardson's the owner of the Carolina Panthers, and he told Cam Newton that Cam Newton apparently didn't have any tattoos when he came into the league. And he told Cam Newton, he said, I don't want you getting any tattoos now that you're here. I'm paying you to be the face of this franchise. No tats for you. What would you guys do if the owner of the team you play for said no tattoos?
I'm sure he didn't. I mean, he's probably an older guy from the old school.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He probably didn't, he probably didn't mean it in the way that everyone took it. He was basically letting them know that I chose you to be the leader of here. I'm not particularly thrilled with my starting quarterbacks having tattoos, and basically saying like I would appreciate it if you didn't get one.
Because then he went out and signed Jeremy Shockey. Now that doesn't make sense, does
it?
Right.
I'm sure if Cam got a tattoo, he's not like you're cut or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just letting him know that he really didn't appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, Cam should have just went out and got a tattoo right away and show him who wears the pants on that franchise.
I'm pretty sure it's the owner.
All right. How tough is it to see kickers bang it long time after time on kickoffs? Does that get frustrating for a return guy?
It gets pretty frustrating, but that's part of the game, and it's just something we're gonna have to deal with back there.
Got a chance to go 2-0, keep it running, keep it rolling.
Yeah, Coach always talks about a fast start, and he defines that as the first 4 games of the season, how you fare, and hopefully we can end up on the good side of that. But you have to take one game at a time, and our next game is obviously the Carolina Panthers, and that's where hopefully our focus lies.
Now, you talked about those receivers, those tight ends. They got Greg Olsen from the Bears. They got Jeremy Shockey. They still have Steve Smith, who had a 178-yard day yesterday as well, so they're loaded for bear. All right, hey, guys, good luck. Randall, special luck to you the rest of the season and the rest of your career, and thanks for coming out and joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Bill. See you next week.
You bet. Randall Cobb and, of course, B.J. Raji will be back here again next Monday. See how the Packers fared on Sunday. We'll talk about it. More from Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill next week. So long, everybody. You've been listening to In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network.